indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You guys are hot, you can.
Open
that window.
It's warm here today.
And it'll just get hot.
Welcome, everybody. Okay,
Okay.
alrighty, I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda unless there's any corrections.
I'll make that motion.
We have a first,
Second.
we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve the minutes from March 10th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Okay, we have a first and a second on the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. General public concerns.
We have the general public concern.
Sure.
I'm here on behalf of the River Development Group, of course, asking if you have had the opportunity to review our proposal. Take into consideration the River Development Group taking over the care and maintenance of the dam. And I know you've all been busy with budget, so I understand if you have not had the opportunity to discuss it. It just is getting to be that time of the year where we could be doing some care and maintenance on the dam with your permission. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
And then I just wanted to give you a recap. We had our open house last week on Thursday. We had just under 25 people show up. Not bad for the Iowa game, surprising everybody. But I wanted to bring you all copies of the slide, the boards that were presented. I know you all were down at ISAC, so I wanted to make sure you still had that same information available, as well as the names of all of the outside experts that we brought in. You're welcome to look up their credentials. If you need to reach out to them or anything, if I can help facilitate that, I'm very happy to get that information for you. How'd I do?
You did.
Okay.
Still pretty fast.
Incremental progress. So I want to make sure you guys have that.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate it. And if there's any questions after reading any of these, please let me know. I put my phone number in there as well.
Okay, thanks, Bree.
That's probably because you're not.
Wannabe section.
Any other public concerns? Moving on, we'll go up here to Dean Kruger and discussion, possible action on overtime pay for jailers, deputies, when the courthouse is closed.
Yeah, we, of course, last week, whatever, you guys closed the courthouse and stuff, and my people are still out there rescuing people. Making our way around and everything, so. Not sure if. I told my employees to turn in for overtime since the courthouse is closed, so. That's why we're here.
How many hours overtime did you have?
Well, look, we got 4 people, 4 or 5 people. Times 9 hours, 45, 50 hours, probably overtime.
So that was overtime during the middle of the week?
Well, I would have loved.
It's right, excuse me, what you're stating is they worked regular time,
Yes, yes,
but want to be compensated as overtime being the courthouse was closed.
yes.
But your, oh my God, my.
Job
mind too.
description.
Well, job description also is, you work when there is, but it's also not in your, excuse me, my mind just went blank, your union, thank you, your union. It's not stated that way, correct?
Probably not, no.
Yeah, it's not,
So,
because I know it's not.
okay, so if courthouse people don't have to work it, do they have to take a day off or, some
But
day
it-
off, or do they just get it free?
They get a snow day.
Yeah.
If the courthouse is officially closed, they get a snow day.
Wasn't there a travel not recommended?
Yeah,
But we have.
So, well, I'm just asking,
So we have
because
to be out there.
I know you have to be out there,
Because they
so would
want
a
us to-
fireman if
right,
the fire whistle come off.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, because they think we have supernatural powers.
I'm not arguing that, Dean, all I'm saying is that we tell people stay off the roads.
Mhm.
And then we get mad when the courthouse is closed because nobody's gonna come in here. Or we don't want people on the road, so we can't have it both ways, and I appreciate, I applaud, I pat them on the back,
Yeah, I would have loved to stay home, but I have to look.
I understand.
Right. And we get that, but that's also part of the job you signed on to, and we do appreciate it, we really do. I don't want you guys to think that we don't appreciate it and that we don't Thank you. You guys do a great job. But in the same aspect, we also got to think of what is in your union contract. And we've got to go on from there.
But it was my understanding of the union contract, that that's just minimum benefits, but if the sheriff or whoever the department head wants to do a little bit above, so we can't.
I don't know about that. We'd have
That's what
to,
was always drilled in my head for years.
we'd have to get with Mike Galloway on that, but
What
I,
about this, and if we don't give them the overtime, what about if we give them a comp day for it, then the ones that work? Since the courthouse was closed. they're-
And then that would flow down to secondary roads
Right.
too.
yeah,
And that really is their job description.
That's my guy's job description.
Right.
That is their
Job
job description,
description, yeah.
so.
Cause you
Yeah.
don't pay any overtime, do you?
If they work.
If they work,
If they work,
They work
overtime.
overtime.
Straight hours.
But it's straight out.
You know, if it happens to fall on a weekend or if they happen to go late in the day or something, they get
Then they
overtime.
get overtime.
I guess if I can chime in,
Sure,
the only thing
go
I
ahead.
wanted to say about it is that, and I don't disagree with the courthouse being closed because the weather conditions were awful. It's just, it would be nice if there was an incentive, because what I could envision is that the employees at some point think, well, if the courthouse gals get a free day off today, my kids are home from school today, most likely, so it's gonna be really easy for me to call in and say, well, I can't make it to work today either, because it's not gonna get counted with me. And then we, on our end, are scrambling, because we have to have people down there working,
Mhm.
covering, working the jail and working the road. So I guess, I get where you're coming from and stuff. I guess I just look at it that if I can see it for the consistency purposes that they're looking at it, that all the courthouse gals got a free day off, got to stay home with their kids, didn't have to risk driving in the weather and stuff, and yet they had to, and there's no incentive for that, for them doing it. So that, I guess that's just if that makes sense.
What would be the cost of the overtime?
Well, it depends how many snow days you have,
Yeah,
or it'd be zero if you never closed the
Yeah.
courthouse. You know, if you had a winter where you didn't close it.
So we also, we had. a
Maybe this
dispatch.
is something we need to look at when you do your new contract next year,
yeah.
you know.
We also have, dispatcher, we put her up in the.
Oh,
American
yeah,
Legion
we
because-
pay that bill,
Yeah, we paid
Mhm.
that bill for her.
which is smart on her part
Right.
to, stay in town.
Mhm. Pay that.
then, I was just gonna say, then we were told earlier that we had two secondary roads guys that spent the night in the building out there.
Yeah,
She lives down by.
And usually it's more than two guys that stay at the county.
at the
shed.
shed.
But they probably have a party there if they're.
Well,
No, I mean, usually Ben Stalzer stays, but he was on vacation. Usually I've got 3 or 4 guys that will stay, that live further.
Further out, they got questionable roads, whether they can
Right.
get in or not.
so both departments have what I call safety sensitive positions. You gotta be there for the general public, secondary roads and the sheriff and deputies. So, that's just, I hate, but it's part of the job.
Well, there's a lot of times over 26 years that I wondered, why am I out here? But that's what you signed up for. And I applaud them guys because they still do it.
Yeah.
Getting stuck on the way to work. You had that happen how many times?
6 of my guys got stuck.
Exactly.
So Wednesday morning, I get the shit.
So they sacrifice a lot to get to work. Because they know nobody else is gonna clean the roads unless they do.
That's the conversation when we hire the guys is. That's staying at the shed or. Snow. I can get you across. uneven terrain.
Right.
But I guess with these guys, I would like clarification. Either in the employee handbook or the personnel policy that we've talked about
Mhm.
updating. That specifically spells it out,
Mhm.
so.
Yep.
That way we don't have the question
Right, I would agree with
on how
that.
to treat it.
I'd like it spelled out too, because unfortunately, this group up here is gonna be the ones that are the evil people that
Yeah.
voted against it or voted for it. And then we can go out and listen to the people say, well, that's their job. I understand. So we're straddling the fence, trying to figure out what's right. But I go back to the point where we didn't We wanted people off the road. So,
This isn't the first time this has happened. Have we ever compensated anybody before that? And I'm sorry, but do we want to start precedents now?
I know, that's the other thing.
We give overtime on days, on regular days.
Yeah, I remember when Dave Lee was here, he said, yeah, I think he was a chairman at the time, but we got paid for it.
Really?
I think, I'm almost certain last year we did, but the last year, I believe, I think where we thought we had landed was that the sheriff, because he was the department head, had the power to control it for the deputies and the jailers. And then, so Dean told us to submit it this time, and then Shauna has replied back and said, you know, the top of Galloway said no,
Right,
so.
it's not part of the contract.
There she is.
So they did get paid for it last February. The courthouse closed at 12. The dispatchers also claimed it on their timesheets. But they had to go through public safety. And then Galloway said that because it was not stated in their union contract that way, public safety would have to approve that. They did not because it was not in the contract. And so then I just learned that it's the same with the sheriff's office. And it has to go to the board that approves the budget. So that would be you guys. But they did get paid for it last year and that was my mistake.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks,
Thanks
Shauna.
for clearing that out.
And where the problem, the issue comes is budgeting.
Right,
I mean, the budget, you know, it's hard to budget when you don't have definite parameters.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
We'll take it under consideration when we're redoing our handbook, because we're gonna redo some of that here shortly. How's that for an answer?
Are we involved with that handbook then?
Yes, you are.
do you wanna be?
Yeah.
All department heads
Yeah.
sit in on that.
Yep.
I'm just looking to, I'm trying to figure out, I heard on the weather that Wednesday, Thursday,
Thursday.
Isn't that
we
weird?
could have a mess too, so.
It looks like a repeat day of. Yeah,
Thanks.
I mean, most of your snow's already gone now, right?
Yeah,
So.
it won't get that.
Potential
We're
blizzard
talking a
conditions.
high of 46.
100% chance of
How
snow,
is that gonna
accumulation
be?
3 to 5 inches. Welcome back to
I
Iowa.
think we would have to motion if we decide. to
We
it.
do appreciate-
It would be as is.
Dean, really? I would not wanna be in your shoes at all.
yeah.
Everybody in this building, everybody in this county appreciates everything you guys do. You go over and beyond of what you should do. I wouldn't wanna be, I mean, it's dangerous. I get it. And I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I know,
It's
when
part of the
I know
job.
these guys were dealing with it earlier than when I came out and stuff, and then I come out and they said, well, can you make your way up to Livermore?
Right,
I'll try, you
I
know.
mean, I've seen videos of other sheriff's departments out on the road and they could literally see nothing at all. They said, do not travel. But there again, stupid people are out doing stuff when
Yeah,
they
4
shouldn't be out.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, they think they're invisible. They're trying to get a loaf of bread and then they end up in the ditch. And then they end up calling you to come rescue their
Yeah,
out of the
because,
ditch.
because I think we have supernatural.
Absolutely.
Hours to get through
You have
this.
lights in
Yeah.
your truck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
I guess, like I said, I guess as we get closer to settling this, I don't know how we do it with our secondary roads. I don't have an answer for that. I guess I can just speak from us. I just think there should be some sort of an incentive when this happens, for the employees that do make the special arrangements to either stay in town or to switch shifts to make sure we have people down there, whatever, that there should be some sort of a incentive for them to. Because it'd be real easy for them to start picking up the phone, oh, can't make it to work,
Right.
it's not gonna get counted against me.
And then you got people out there that are gonna die or whatever, cause you can't get to them, or you're not gonna come to work.
Yeah. That's just my 2 cents.
I got a question. Did you use that quad track for over that blizzard event?
No. We didn't, we probably could, but we don't have the tracks on it, though.
The tracks aren't on it.
No, it's just the tires.
Are they like, put them on in the winter, take them off in the summer, or are they just not on it?
They just didn't put it on because we had a mild winter this year. Never expected to have a blizzard in
Okay.
March.
Okay. I was just curious how that worked out.
Well, would we talk to the snowmobile association or whatever they go by? And say we had somebody that was out near Highway 17. Do we talk to somebody like that
I have that discussion with Kyle Bissell, after a week and a half ago, that to make sure we're doing a better job of reaching out to the snowmobile club, maybe trying to put something out on social media for the farmers that live along the hard surface roads. You know, that if we can make sure we have their contact information, because we had a vehicle, that was stranded on Highway 3 out by States Avenue. And they were calling nonstop demanding we come out and rescue them, and we couldn't get out of town to get to him. Ultimately, when Michael Vincent came on duty, he lives out east of town, and he was able to find his way to him and got him picked up and got him rescued after like 8.5 hours. But, and was able to get him home, but we talked about that trying to do something with social media, trying to ask farmers that live on there, you know, that if what they have for equipment, whether it be snowmobiles or side by sides, that if we get in that position again, if we could send them out to get them gas or get them some food or rescue them, pick them up and get them back to their house. Do something more along that lines, because we just.
well, the
we had
grooming
multiple
machine
ambulance calls, we
looks
couldn't even get the ambulance to the people.
pretty unstable,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean it couldn't get stuck. So. And I'm not trying to pawn it off on that group, but that grooming machine that they use, that seems like it'd be something that could do something like that, so I don't.
And there again, you run a problem with the visibility.
Mhm.
I mean,
Putting them at risk.
I was in my shop and I wouldn't, I got lost walking from my house to the shop.
That's on a normal day.
I mean, you just couldn't see anything. It was bad.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Again, we appreciate it, and I guess we'll discuss it and see.
Do is rewrite the handbook. You're on the list of people who are there. So, all right,
Be there.
All right,
all right.
Sounds good,
Yeah,
thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, man.
So you know I have a short chair. Thanks a lot.
I'm gonna switch to new phone.
Morning.
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 Good morning.
Good morning. Made it back.
Yep.
First item that I've got on the agenda is to approve an application to work in the counties right away with Mid-American. They're looking at replacing 4 rotten poles on 180th Street. This is the diagonal that runs southeast out of Bradgate down to the Lubenthal place. So there's good established fence along that stretch, like they're more or less just pulling the bad poles and putting new ones in. So,
Very straightforward.
Yeah, I'll make that motion to approve.
I'll second it.
First and second for Mid-American. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I assume all the stuff is updated and their insurance and whatnot.
yeah, they send us some insurance coverage once a year.
Right.
I don't think Warren Buffett's gonna run.
No, I don't think so either, but I thought I'd say.
Here's to have it.
The next thing that I need to do is set a date and time for a public hearing for fiscal year 26 secondary road budget and 5-year program. Basically, that is where we set a date and time. We have an open discussion where anybody from the public can ask questions about our budget or the projects that are listed on our 5-year plan. I have to have it submitted to the DOT no later than April 15th.
You're on the agenda for work session this afternoon today, right?
That's for us for the 5-year program, but I need to set a date and time for
Public hearing.
the public hearing.
So it has to be like the 31st of March would fall into that time frame, right?
Yeah, I'd say either that or the 7th. we find either one, depending on what your schedule looks like.
We, on the 7th, we've got a 25, 26 budget hearing. We could do both, couldn't we? Same time?
We could do my hearing the same time you're doing your budget hearing, or after, whatever.
We got it 9:30.
We gotta close, that's the one we gotta close the
Yeah.
one meeting and go into another meeting.
Yeah.
It's
just-
Yeah,
I thought that
Or do you
was
wanna
the
do it on
taxation meeting.
31st?
I got budget hearing, but I.
No,
couldn't
I
go
mean
there
on the
long.
31st.
would you be ready for the 31st?
Yeah, I'm.
Okay, I just wrote it wrong. I did.
I mean, once we go
budget.
through this.
Tax hearing
work
today.
session. Today, yeah.
I don't have that on mine.
Sorry.
Whatever works for you, Ben, you
That's
tell
fine.
us.
Yeah, you.
March
did.
30, you wanna do March 31st?
Yeah, if you're ready, let's get it done.
Okay, March
31st,
31st.
after the taxation hearing,
What time?
or before,
Which is 9:30.
9:30, yeah.
9:30. No, I do.
So you wanna go
Truth and taxation on the
9:45?
31st, and then the 7th is the budget hearing.
9:30,
No, no,
9:45,
9:45.
9:45.
9:45, okay.
9:30, you'll have us all messed up.
Secondary
Roads.
Can you
5
do it
years.
early?
I can do it earlier.
You
I
want
can do it
nine?
before.
You wanna do 9 o'clock?
Yep, let's go
Nine,
9,
scratch
So, and this is the,
9
AM.
9 AM.
roads budget, right?
Secondary roads budget, yeah.
Secondary
One
roads. Yep.
disadvantage of having paper that you're scribbling out.
Yeah, I just.
No, not me, not me. I just go right down here and say 9 AM.
Really?
Budget.
You got any whiteout?
That's what I was looking for.
All right,
9 AM, March 31st.
do we have a motion for?
Oh, I'm
9 a.m.?
sorry. I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, the first and the second, all in favor? Any opposed? I should have asked for more discussion, but any opposed? All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, we now have approval for pavement markings for 2025.
So I sent out for quotes from a couple of companies for pavement marking for the calendar year 2025. Received one quote back from Vogel Traffic Services. That's a contractor that we've used pretty much exclusively for the last 15-20 years. Their price went up about $1 a gallon. So it was like 23.25 and now it's 24.23, so.
Roughly how many miles of road are you doing?
We usually average between 2,000 and 2,500 gallon
Okay,
for our price quote. It's usually around 70 miles of center line and 35 to 40 miles of edge line. All of our stop bars get redone and half of the pavement or half of the railroad crossing symbols get done.
when
So,
did they do the stop bars?
why do you do this?
No, why did they grind them
Why
up?
did they grind, yeah, why
I
did they
got
grind
that.
them?
We didn't grind those.
That's what I told
So
you,
that
that's the
was,
state.
that was the state, that was the Clarion DOT shed, because it's only the stop bars east of town that were done.
I was wondering, because people are asking.
Nothing, the other three directions got done.
Is there a reason?
Preservation lasts longer.
Did they get full of sand and everything else? And
The state has been experimenting with doing that on center and edge line as well.
Yeah.
We're looking at doing it in our paved shoulders project. Where we'll do a 6-inch wide grind in the edge line and then put the edge line stripe in.
That grind.
And the reasoning or the thought process of that is when you're plowing snow,
Blade don't get it.
the blade doesn't
Scrape it off.
scrape it off and cut it off.
makes sense.
And that's the
But I think
thought
they're-
process,
I
but
think they're pretty aggressive, they tease it.
they overground in my opinion.
Yeah.
But they didn't call and
They
ask
asked you?
for, they didn't ask for permission. It's their right of way.
Yeah.
It's,
So they did it, okay.
Yeah, because I've had several people ask me that, and I said, I'm pretty sure that's the state. that-
yeah, that was the state. Cause they did it right after we overlaid.
Yeah.
And as normal, they just, when they're in the area, they let you know they're coming. They'll get
Yeah,
it
they just
done
put
when
us on
they
the schedule.
can. With that, I'll make a motion to approve the Vogel traffic services.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have first and a second. Any more discussion on the pavement markings? All in favor?
Okay.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All righty. Anything else for us, Ben?
Other than just work session later where we look through some of the 5-year program.
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
all right,
Okay,
How's our sand holding out here
well, we should have enough
in
to
the middle of
make
the
it
month or
through.
middle of the week? We're sitting still good.
Yeah, other than week and a half ago, the
Really haven't used much.
been pretty mild.
We like that.
Mhm.
Are they having a hard time keeping the hardy blacktop that? I don't think the shoulder's very wide, and that's just my opinion. I know it's got off like quite a few places and there's rock literally everywhere in the ditch. By what's his name's, Craig's place.
Everybody blades snow a little bit differently. The Hardy shop has the old Gary Halsrud mentality of if the rock's not flying, you're not moving all the snow. Where they drop the wing all the way down till they see the rock flying out into the ditch. We need to work on dropping that wing down till you see that rock and then pulling back up.
Actually, this last snow, if you got down to the rock, you were gonna take it. I mean, if you, even if you didn't get in, it would still stick and go.
Yeah.
The snow would push and off you would go.
And the problem is it hasn't been a cold, hard
It wasn't
winter.
froze.
Like
Yeah, I know,
like it
yeah, I
hasn't-
know
It
that.
hasn't
Trust me,
froze
go look at my yard.
solid, so.
And when the grader goes down the road, you get this going on, and every time it goes like this, it digs.
But I'm just talking on the blacktop.
I am too,
Yep.
because that's where you can really can on it and make it go. I mean, it does.
It's very similar to you pushing snow in your yard. You've probably got rock in your grass.
Yeah. No, I'm not bitching about it. I just was curious because I just noticed there's. And I know it's all new there, so it's not froze, it's not solid, it's very easy.
I mean, it was rolled and bedded in somewhat,
Yeah.
but
I think what happened in that one spot, I think he might have got off the road a little bit. And he
and sunk.
sunk and then pulled it back because there's just rock everywhere.
Okay.
But yeah, I know, I wouldn't, like I said, I'm not in their shoes, I would not want to do it, so.
I see the veg a lot, it looks really nice.
Yeah,
Some of the
we
places
pulled in-
The rock, they're a little high, but that's gonna be in the ditch.
Right.
We
If we
pulled
get
in
some
shoulders last week.
Yep, looks
And-
nice.
Oh,
looked like it worked pretty good too.
Yeah, it
Had some
did.
moisture with
Yep.
it.
Yep, so we used the pull behind the tractor and pulled shoulders in and then had a blade and a roller following them around, so.
good.
Yep.
And I do have a job we need to go look at for Scott Rasmussen, your favorite person.
So your brother.
No, he's not my brother. So anyway, he's east of his house, he's got a lane where he keeps his cattle and pigs.
Okay.
It's on the south side of the road. The tile is apparently too small, it's kind of washing a hole out there, big hole. Either he would pay for part of it,
Culvert, is it under his driveway
yeah, it's
or?
under the driveway.
Okay,
He would pay for part of it to put in a new one if he needs to, but it's washing a big hole, so the water is not flowing correctly to the west.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go take some pictures of it today while it's nice, and I'll forward them to you. And if you get a chance,
we
maybe.
get done here, we can go
Yeah,
out and just look at
absolutely.
it
Yep.
together.
Yes, that would have got.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks. Anything else?
Bet. I don't think so. Done shortly. Okay, next is accept and place on file the 2025 manure management plan for Short Farm annual update for Tracy Goodell, 58863. I think we have a copy of that.
Yep, we do.
Yeah.
It looks like it's signed and dated.
I was gonna hear that.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, motion carries. Excuse me.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
He didn't really try
I'm
to take
trying
it
to get through
along.
this quick. Okay, now we have our health insurance premium program here. I know we've had some discussion on what rate that should be at. Um,
Look at it.
2.5, I think.
That's in our books.
That's in our book.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I
okay.
think we've had enough discussion.
Yeah, I don't.
Good, 2.5.
No, I thought we were
We
doing
had,
five.
we had three options, 2.5, 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
And the 5 would build our self-funding by 40,000, correct?
Mhm, correct, 41 something.
Yes, and our self-funding is low. My thoughts are, I'd rather do it this year where there's no increase in premium.
Yes.
Because then next year, if you happen to have a 5% increase in premium, then you wanna increase your self-funding by 5%, now you got a 10% jump.
Right,
So I'd say take a little bit this year,
Hope for the
so it's
best
more of
next
an
year.
even keel than this
Yeah,
stuff.
I agree. That's kind of what I was thinking too, the 5%. I'll make that motion for 5%.
I'll second it.
All right, we have first and a second, any more discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, now we have the secondary roads, your work plan afterwards. Jump into committee reviews.
I didn't have any meetings. The only thing I did was we visited earlier, but someone asked me about over by Gilmore. So I drove over there to look at some of those retaining areas, and there is water in one or two. And I guess, hopefully, we had talked with, I didn't talk to him recently, but he did say one time that he would come and visit with us if we wanted to, Mike Borland. But anyway, the person just asked if we were aware how all of them things worked, and I said I would bring that to our attention, so.
I've been over there when they had their, open house, when it got started, I was there for the open house when it was finished, so. If anybody got any questions, I'm pretty well versed in it,
That's all I did.
so pass them along to me if they got questions, they can call me,
Okay,
try to let them know. But, the thing is built to retain water.
Yeah. It looks pretty nice. I drove that because I had to go to Pocahontas on Tuesday. And it's
Yeah,
really
that
nice.
is very nice.
Get some rain, it'll
it
fill
just
up. and
looks
hopefully-
different. I mean,
It
we
sure
aren't,
Oh,
looks,
it
it
does
does
look
look different, they moved a
Yeah.
lot of dirt
Yeah.
to make a few ponds.
Yep,
The only thing if it don't rain, we just get enough moisture for weed, that's gonna be
Yeah, be a lot of weeds,
a lot.
but I think they do seed it.
they do. They said the only thing they.
They had the open house, they didn't have the seeding completed at that time.
Right.
I'm sure it's probably done by now, or maybe not, maybe it's
I
too
don't
wet
think so.
or too cold.
Yeah, I thought they said they were gonna do it in the spring
Yeah,
at that thing,
I think
because that was the
you're
only
right.
thing they didn't have done was the seeding when we were out there. for
yeah,
that.
they had some done, but not all of it.
All of it, yeah.
had a pretty good, group of ducks that were over in the corner, so might have some hunting
That's some
opportunities. in
Yeah,
that.
that's what they're hoping for.
Right,
It makes a nice place to hunt ducks and.
yeah.
Is that gonna be public hunting?
Yeah.
That close to
Mhm.
the road, the Delbert? Okay.
Maybe not all of it, every farmer has a different setup. Cause some of them sold their land to different people, some give you,
Right, they had to have, did they have to sign up, did they say that they had to sign off? Easements or whatever, so much right away or something like that for their land. They mentioned something about that.
I'm done.
Oh, you're done,
I'm
okay,
done.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
was waiting, okay.
No, you're good.
Tuesday, the 11th, I was over at the Pocahontas Board of Supervisors meeting to talk about the, possible joint, federal grant that, Allison is writing for. And just kind of saying that what we were gonna do, that we were gonna, part of our was gonna give the $10,000 of the, opioid money, because she was gonna be doing prevention with that, to work in with that. So it's kind of like a justice liaison. She hasn't really quite come up with the actual name of it, but it'd be that. So it's gonna be a joint thing with the jails and also with working with the schools as far as prevention and things like that. She did find out, she made it to the second round, so that's positive. So, April, I can't remember, it's a day in April, she's gonna be having, an, interview, explaining that, and then, myself and Clarence will be a part of that interview process also. So it's looking positive that we're actually gonna be able to have somebody that will be able to work in our county and help with, in the jails and with mental health, and so that's a pretty good deal. Tuesday, I had 2 ISAC meetings. I had, education committee. I'm also on the ISAC board, so we had those. And then at night, we had from 5 to 7, we had the, legislative, reception, which
Tuesday or
Wednesday was ISAC, yep. Wasn't really that many legislators there.
About 10, maybe.
Yeah. I would say a dozen at the most. It was very, very sad.
Yeah.
And
You guys
I knew
stressed them out.
I knew Thompson wasn't gonna come, but
There you did it.
Guth
You did it.
told me he was going to be there when he was there at the, yeah, town hall, but he wasn't there.
That's kind of like Mike.
But anyway, so then Wednesday, or Thursday and, Friday, I was also at the ISAC meetings, which for the most part, I think they were, pretty interesting. There's some subjects that are just dry and you gotta talk about them, but they're just dry and there's no other way to get around them. But the last day with those joint sessions,
I enjoyed those.
yeah, with the assessor, conservation, emergency management, environmental
Engineers.
health. One thing that one of the last ones was public, health. So I talked to Kevin, Greamy, who is the Siouxland District, health, public health guy. He said that they are not going to look at public health until 2027, thank God. We were
They're
all
gonna leave it
afraid.
alone for a little bit, huh?
Yes, and I think they saw what a disaster the mental health transition was. I think they decided that they weren't gonna bark up that tree yet. So he said the earliest would probably be, if they did do anything in 2027, it would be 2029 before it was installed. And I gotta let Michelle and, Kristen know that. So that was one good news. So we can start moving forward with, not worried about what's gonna happen. Yeah, there was something I was gonna bring up and where's the paper that I wrote that? Oh, you went to the, did you do the, discussion with, Civiality? Did anybody
Oh,
do
yes.
that one? Yeah, so I found that kind of interesting, and everything is so controversial anymore, and I think, most thing that I got out of it is that we, as leaders, need to focus on civility to hopefully maybe do a change in our world and start with our community and things like that, and hopefully maybe things will change, and maybe we'll all be able to work together instead of fighting all the time. And that goes for me too, because I know I get
Get a
that
little
way.
feisty sometimes.
I do get a little
You
feisty
do?
once in a while. So that was my intake on that.
Need to calm her down.
And so I got that. So that, but I really thought that the meetings were very good. The one thing that was brought up, I don't know how many times, I don't know how many times you guys heard it, but the new property tax law. The legislators are pretty much saying that you either accept what we're gonna be coming up with as the new reform, or you're gonna be stuck with the 3.5, and it may even get worse. So, and they have the numbers. We can talk to them all we want. It's just,
What caught me the most is, I heard it 3 or 4 times, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
right,
So it's basically giving us a clear cut avenue of where we need to be.
right. Yep, so, yep, and that was a good quote.
But my impression, they don't even want us at the table.
No,
Right.
That's the
No.
impression
Oh,
I got.
God,
Keep your mouth shut, give them a week to 10 days.
Yep.
By then the decision will be made. and just take what they give you.
And we're gonna have to,
That's the impression I got.
and we're gonna have to either come up a way to make it work. Or we're gonna need to go out to our communities and just say, we've got to, we're cutting this, this and this, where can you guys pick up? I mean, it might come to that. So I don't know where we're at. But I'm not gonna give up. I'm done.
You're done?
Oh, and this isn't county, but I just happened to click on Saturday, Meals of the Heartland. They did 152,442 meals in
Wow,
2 days.
wow.
The kids did quite a large number too for
Mhm.
school. I
Mhm.
saw
Yep,
a couple different
so
posts.
I thought that was pretty good, 100, yeah.
that they
Their
had.
goal was 150,000, they did 152,442.
Wow.
Leon had to figure it, because Leon came and helped me. It's 16 meals a minute.
He figured that's what I feel.
That's what we packaged, 16 meals a minute, everybody that was there for
Have you
those
ever
2
eaten them?
days.
Have you ever ate one, Sandy?
No, I have not.
Yeah, I've had.
Have you?
They haven't done it at the food pantry, I think.
Yeah, they do.
Few.
I think they need a lot of seasoning.
Yeah,
It's pretty bland.
well, I'll tell you, by the time I got done, there was the dust. I could hardly even talk because the dust of it, but they didn't smell that bad.
No, oh,
But,
no,
I
it's
mean,
just
no,
all
they don't-
dry stuff.
I mean, it's just rice, cereal,
Is there beans in it?
soy powder for protein, and then vegetables,
Dried vegetables.
dried vegetables. And, yeah, it's all in what you put in, like
Yeah,
they
you had a
say,
bunch of soy sauce to put on it probably.
Yeah.
yeah. Spanish rice, put some cumin in it and some chile. Hamburger if you got it, but I doubt they have that. I'll tell you though, they show the people that get these, that I mean, in the third world countries, they're happy to get it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and that's what you gotta think of. I mean, to them, it's a meal. Yeah. All right, I'm done. I am done.
Okay, well, I had a really busy week.
Bet you did, getting all burnt up.
Started on Monday, I went to the bar, the swimming pool. I had nothing last week because I was on vacation. Sorry,
That's fine.
I'm glad to be back though. I did try to Zoom. I don't know what the problem was. I could
When you get out of the country, don't worry.
It's hard.
get to Humboldt
One
County.
time I was able to, then the next time I was in Costa Rica.
I got to Humboldt County, but I could not get linked to the website.
And I think that's because of our security.
Probably is.
Yeah. Our security.
Well, I've been
Makes sense.
vacationing up in Rochester this year. I haven't had any problems getting in.
But the thing is there a way that we can set up like a Zoom time meeting where I get a code number? Cause I could do that, but I don't have a code number for you. Like you would send me a password. And but
I don't know if you still could if you're out of town or
What?
out of the country because it's,
It-
our
it-
security
it worked-
blocking.
It worked one time for me and then the next time it won't.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Well, at least we know our security is working.
Yeah.
yeah, it is, I could not get in.
Oh, boy.
So I tried to put the drink in my hand. but it didn't work.
Switch hands.
I did,
One needs you.
yep. So glad to be back.
All right, 12th, ISAC meeting. 12th, 13th, and 14th is down in Des Moines. Took away from it that, a lot of things are tightening up.
Yeah,
And I just hope the public understands where we're at.
right.
Because it's not our doing.
No, hands are tied.
It was kind of eye-opening, I guess. To realize what we're up against. Because the state's deeming what we need to do,
Mhm.
so.
There is no local control anymore.
But
Had the work order for that clean out up by Bradgate, got to go look at it today. 8,500 for that, that wasn't definitely charged for it. So, don't figure that was too bad. Adam, Blumenthal.
Oh, they're on the, yeah, they're already cleaned them.
Yep, we went back in there.
He's done.
Yep, Gotta go look at it today.
Okay. I went down to ISAC, I hadn't been there for many years, at least 3, maybe 4 years, because sometimes I think you're talking to some people that don't listen to you. And, there's a lot of good information. Hear the same thing, everybody down there saying the same thing we are.
Mhm.
It's changing.
Yep.
And we did hear the comment, they're trying to get rid of counties.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to,
shrink the number of counties Iowa has.
mhm.
And I heard
And
anywhere,
buy some in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, that's so smart. Let's buy Minnesota, southern
That sounded like a
Minnesota.
Trump statement. But that's the thing that scares me, that they're trying to get rid of the smaller counties.
Yeah,
And they're much like they did with school consolidation.
mhm.
So that is something that's probably gonna be coming in
I
our
bet-
way.
I bet you within 10 years, 10 to 20 years, especially if Reynolds stays in. But then the guy running against her, I don't know, he's scary too.
So I was there Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. I did talk to the sheriff from, I think, Iowa City. And they have their own juvenile detention. And they're sitting only a third full.
Really?
Yeah. I was surprised that they were that empty. But
Well, over. The one that we belong to has they pick up a lot from the Des Moines area,
okay,
so.
yeah, I think
They
there's
could
2
take-
counties over there that use this facility.
Mhm.
Because both sheriff, I was sitting with the table, both sheriffs. And that was the conversation they were having. So, anyways.
And that's the one thing about going to ISAC, it's the talks you have after the meetings and in
Mhm.
between the meetings and things like that, you really glean a lot of information
With
from.
different supervisors.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know it's
Yeah.
not the ones I went to, you get a lot of information,
Mhm.
questions they can answer.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, every county does it a little different, and just
Right.
because the way we're doing it
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's always necessarily the best. You
Yeah.
know,
Sat with a couple from Spencer, from their FEMA disaster they had, and they're still dealing with that.
oh,
I
yeah,
bet that's ugly still.
Yeah, and Ben will attest to it. Why do we get FEMA people from South Carolina,
Yeah.
New York?
yeah,
Why are those the people coming here to make decisions that they don't have a damn clue what goes
No,
on around there?
And that is one of the positive things where I think Charles talked about getting rid of FEMA and just delving out money to local control. So that would be,
Much better
in
spent.
ours, they'd go to like Iowa, and then they would be the ones that would field.
Give it to the states and let the states decide how it should be spent.
yeah.
It'd be much better spent of money, because the
Well, it
amount of
doesn't-
money that FEMA has wasted up there in Spencer is incredible.
I mean, we've.
Even like we did here in Humboldt, there was such a waste of FEMA money, it was insane.
Mhm.
We've had a standing Thursday meeting with FEMA every Thursday at 9:30 AM since October. Some days it's the telephone call that lasts 20 to 30 minutes, some days it's in person and it's all day.
Wow,
I haven't had anybody back since the month.
3 years, 3 years is done. As far as I
Well, it's
know.
in process, they keep saying. But we did have 3 different representatives before it got to that point.
We're on our 4th.
Oh, well,
Yeah, and were they local people?
no, no.
Look, they're from God knows where.
The gentleman that got years of processing is now.
Larry?
So, that's my soapbox, FEMA, what a joke.
So they did call, I ended up with a, they call you up and ask you what your opinion was or whatever, how was your experience, so I make sure I tell them.
Thank you.
good,
And I think they do with Bragg Gate also, I don't know if you guys have gotten any kind of call, maybe not because of the. I was able to explain to them, you know, it really wasn't necessary to send 3 different people here, 1 a month, now I had to tell each one of them
The
the
same
same
thing?
information, because they weren't sharing it somehow. Yet you're supposed to have this portal that everything's supposed to be in.
yeah.
And nobody seemed to have, it was
That's a department Trump should get rid of too, is FEMA, just like you say, do
Well, how
that.
long were they out here in a camper? And you drive by and it was just a camper.
Yeah, and two Kaibos that the security guards guarded all night long. It's
Well,
stupid.
and they also knock on doors, right?
Yeah, they walked around
People
town.
left, you know, business cards at City Hall and stuff. Yeah, they canvassed the area. For what little.
And I'm sure down in the Carolinas where they had all the mess that they've had down there, they'd have loved to have the, but it wasn't like we were overrun. So I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Okay.